Hi there, it's Marisa again, and we are going to talk about cold stratification for this video. As you know, I live in Bermuda, and we are apparently in USDA Zone 11, which is interesting. We are across from North Carolina, about 700 miles off the coast of North Carolina. We are really temperate from the point of view of it doesn't really get hot here. During the summer, we generally don't get into the 90s. However, we have high humidity. During the winter, we may have a few days in the 50s, but that's really, really cold. So the weather here is usually cooler than, say if you were visiting Miami. So generally, in the past, I haven't had to deal with cold stratification. Most things seem to grow. I mean, looking at this list, I've had gaillardia, and I've had pincushion flowers, and I've had milkweed, and chamomile all grow without me having to cold stratify in the past. I have done cold stratification for peony seeds and for hellebore seeds in the past. And indeed, I do keep poppy seeds and strawberry seeds in the refrigerator. And but this year I decided to do some research, and it was all because of echinacea. Now, it says that echinacea can grow in my zone and such, but I always seem to get it sprouting and then nothing really happens. And then I started doing some research and started to find that there were quite a few items that I have this issue with that cold stratification would help. So Rudbeckia, I've actually purchased it at a nursery before, and it was beautiful in the garden. And I wanted more colors, so I decided to get seeds related to that. Foxglove's another one. And indeed, bachelor buttons I've been trying to get growing over the last 2 years. And I've had really spotty luck with it. So I looked it up this year and decided that I would go through my list of my wish flowers for 2023, and then to identify which ones to cold stratify. So this list right here are the seeds that I had that I decided to cold stratify. This little marker-based calendar up here, we put them in the fridge, most of them on the 23rd of January, and then I'm doing 4 to 5 weeks of keeping them in the fridge. So we've already gotten through January 30th. Monday will be the 6th, then we'll have the 13th, the 20th, then the 27th. And then theoretically, I should be able to plant the seeds either on the 27th or getting into March. Now, the rules that I had followed said that I do need to check on the seeds on a regular basis to see if they had started to sprout, because seeds that start to sprout, you should put them in soil and such. So this container right here is the container that sits in the fridge. I decided not to do the sand or the peat moss method of cold stratification. I did that in the fall for peat seeds and for the peony seeds and the hellebore seeds. And I decided to try the paper towel method this time around. So what we're going to do right now is just go through this container and see what we have, and just check to see if there are any that have sprouted. So you'll see we've used snack bags from Ziploc snack bags, and each has a paper towel that has been soaked in water, and then the seeds have been placed between the paper towel, which was folded in half, and then the name of the seed and the date that we put it in, January 23rd. Now, there have been a few that have added when I received some seeds this week. So there are a few that may have a different date. Now what I'm going to do every week is I'm just going to pick them up and I'm going to take a look to see if there is any growth. We had some apple seeds in the refrigerator over Christmas and such, and when I did take them out, they had actually grown, you know, quite a few roots. So this is scabiosa, otherwise known as pincushion flower, and we're going to look to see if there's anything there. And then, in fact, let me just turn those over. This is mellow yellow echinacea. I don't see anything there. I can also turn it this way so I don't have to look at the look at the name. Magnus echinacea. I actually had quite a few of these sprout last year, but as I said, then you know, really, I think I had issues hardening off when I took things outside. At this point, it doesn't look like I have any roots on that, so that's good. So, you know, almost 2 weeks into this. And it's always good to check because of the fact that we can just, you know, pot those up. So this is the Paradise Mix. And then the next one is the Paradiso Echinacea. Nothing yet. Good. Green Twister. I had a few of these sprout last year as well. Let's look on the other side for this one. Good. And I don't want them to, realistically, I don't want them to sprout yet. I am not really ready to start planting a lot of these. I am starting to get my beds together. This is the Sahara Rudbeckia. I actually had a couple of these sprout. And then I think I planted them too late in the season for the Rudbeckia. I always forget about the Rudbeckia until like the very, you know, sort of like I'm in the midst of summer. And then you know, you start stuff inside and then you're sort of like, what's going on here? And then the cherry brandy. I've been trying to grow cherry brandy since 2020. I got, I think a chimchurri from the plant nursery one time, and then I was like, oh my goodness, I want cherry brandy, and I've had no luck. So blanket flower, I usually grow these with no problem at all. I had them in my back garden all last year, and then I saw it was on the cold stratification list. So I'm trying it out this year and see what difference does it make. You'll notice that some have the boys' names on them. This doesn't have anything on it. This has Seamus's name on it. Seamus, and this one has Liam's. Seamus and Liam have to do garden for their Cub Scout for Seamus and Scout badge for Liam. And they had blanket flower on their wish list. So I had them come into the kitchen when I was doing this, and they have put their seeds in to cold stratify them. So the good thing is that for neither one of them, because we still haven't laid out their garden, they will be doing square foot gardening for theirs. So nothing yet. That's good because we have work to do. We've just planted some sweet pea seeds today, and they'll have some of those as well for their respective gardens. So this is anemone. This one, as you see here, it says 2 weeks, and I planted this one on the 31st. And yes, it according to the actual packet, it said that this one should be cold stratified for 2 weeks. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do it for 2 weeks or not. The hellebore that I got said to cold stratify for 3 weeks, compared to the instructions that I had for the hellebores that I did in the fall, which actually had a heat stratification and then a cold stratification. We'll see how this works. Yeah, I have a hellebore growing outside right now in my mini greenhouse, and I think I told you with that one, All I did was plant it. It did nothing for a year, and then all of a sudden it started sprouting. So Lord knows. This is foxglove. I have gotten foxglove to sprout without cold stratification last year. I had put some in the garden, and I think that I had slugs eat them. So we'll see what happens with this. And then I'm investing in slug bait this year. This is the bee balm. I purchased a couple of bee balm plants last year from the plant nursery, and I also planted out a few seedlings that had sprouted, but nothing took. So I'm trying the cold stratification this time. So this is the last of my bergamot, I think. And then I did get spotted bee balm last year. This one I actually did get to sprout without cold stratification, but it didn't really grow very big. And I think the daisies ended up taking over where I put them. This is the columbine. I actually did have columbine sprout last year without cold stratification, and indeed I have one in the pot in the front from last year that's still growing. So we'll see if that flowers this year. But this one looks good. We also have the McKenna Giants columbine. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, I don't see that anything is sprouted, so that's good. So we still have a couple weeks. This is the kirigami. And I've had this, we'll see what happens with this seed. I've had this seed since 2020, and I never did anything with it, so I thought I better open it. German chamomile. I actually had a 6-pack of this last year. Again, sprouted without cold stratifying, and indeed I saw a little bit coming back the other day, so who knows. Lavender, I had a lot of seedlings last year, but none of them really took. They didn't get any bigger once I put them in bigger pots. So we're going to try with the cold stratification, see what happens. So we have French long lavender. That's the one I had last year. The Munstead lavender, I had this one last year as well. Spanish lavender, I purchased in the midst of the season and tried to start, but it was just too hot. By the time that I got it, it was June into July, so we'll see if starting it in the spring makes a difference. This is a new one, Elegance Pink Lavender, and we'll see how that one does. Nothing yet. This is Scabiosa. This is Salmon Queen. This is a new one for this year. In fact, I have little ramekins full of summer fruits from last year, and also the blue from last year that I'm wondering, you know, I'm trying out the cold stratification, but, you know, I'm even thinking of just, you know, sprinkling them, you know, all through the garden. They were so beautiful last year. In fact, I think we have 3 plants that are still in one of the garden beds. I think it's the pink one. Yeah, so nothing yet. This is the Black Knight. This is an older seed as well. I've never gotten Nigella to grow, and I love Nigella. I think it is so beautiful, and hopefully I can get Starry Night to grow, and we'll see. A new one for this year, I have Catmint, and we're trying that out, and that was on a list that I came across. And we have Ranunculus. I have been trying to start ranunculus seeds since 2020. So we're trying the cold stratification. I also have actual seeds in cells in the fridge in Ziploc bags right now. So we'll see how that works, you know, when it's actually in there. Milkweed, I've never known that you should cold stratify milkweed. I have milkweed growing in the garden that I've been growing for like probably 6 or 7 years now. It just comes back every year, and the monarch butterfly caterpillars just eat it like mad. Bachelor buttons, like literally I did a egg tray of 24 cells, and I only got one come up. So we'll see what happens here with the cooled stratification. Penstemon, I've got a packet last year. I planted it at my dad's. I understand that with penstemon, some seeds will stay dormant and, sprout at different times. So we'll see what happens with that. Verbena, I buy verbena from the plant nursery often. And, we'll see what happens with this. I did have an experiment last year with verbena where we just took some cuttings off of it mid-season and get them to grow roots and put them in to last a bit longer, and that worked. The larkspur, I bought these seeds in 2020 as well and didn't have any luck with them, so we're going to see what happens. Do we have? Nope, that's not. Nope, that's not any yet. And then the interesting thing with doing this method is that what we can do afterwards is once we take them out from cold stratification, instead of putting them into soil, we could also just tape them to the French doors. And the kids will probably do that with theirs as an experiment, because of course it gets the light and it keeps the humidity in the in here, and then we just take the what are those things called, tweezers, and put them into the soil when they actually sprout. So if we take them out of cold stratification and then we just need them to sprout, we can get them to sprout by taping them on the door. So this is the Buried Treasure Proven Winners strawberries. I've got them to sprout last year, but I didn't get any of them to actually grow to a significant size. So we'll see what happens there, but we'll cold stratify that. We have both red and pink in that one. This is the last of my Panorama Monarda. I desperately wanted this to grow. I think I purchased this back in 2019, not even 2020. So we'll see what happens with that. And then I think the last two are Catmint. We have the Pink Panther Catmint, and then we have the Grandview Catmint. And as much as I believe my cats will enjoy it, it's also a matter of, making sure that we have them. So that's what they look like in the container. It goes into the bottom drawer of our refrigerator. I try not to put apples or anything like that in the drawer along with them. And then on the drawer above, I have the seed trays with the ranunculus and in Ziploc bags, so that we could do the cold stratification for that. So that's just sort of an overview of what we're doing with our cold stratification experiment right now, and hopefully we can plant these in March. Thanks for joining me. See you later. Bye.